Hello everyone, welcome to Dorothychiapiano, where I talk about all things piano teaching and piano learning. So the last 2 weeks I was not available because of certain family matters that I have to take care of. So thank you for your understanding, and now we're back. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about an aspect of technique, and we're going to look at the wrist. Today I'm going to lift a few questions that is from my book, Piano Pedagogy, The Questions. And this book is very suitable for piano teachers who wish to go through systematically some piano pedagogy topics and who would like to examine their own teaching. This book also comes with answers. So I'm going to put the link to the books below. We do ship internationally. So let's look at the question that's found on page 34. This is pertaining the use of the wrist. What are the common faults with the wrist in piano playing? What should be the position of the wrist in relation to the fingers? And some students pump the wrist up and down to compensate for finger action in piano playing. So how does this affect the tone, the melodic line, and how can this be fixed? So let's look at the wrist, or the position of the wrist. The wrist is quite tricky because you want at the same time for the wrist to be fairly relaxed. Okay, it should not be tight and stiff when you play. Alright, so sometimes we see students tightening up the wrist and really clenching the whole hand and the arm, and that tension stretch all the way to the forearm up to the elbow. So this should not be the case. You want the wrist to be fairly relaxed, but at the same time it has enough support that when the fingers play, there is enough support for the fingers. So you don't want it to be totally limp. So what I sometimes do with my beginner students is that I ask them to hold it firm enough that I can park a toy car. So in this case it's an army tank, and I'm going to park it on the hand, and it should be able to stay there without tipping over to the piano or to my lap. Alright, so it should stay there even when I'm playing. Okay. The other thing would be to, because your wrist acts like a shock absorber, you want your fingers to move independently from that wrist pumping. So we shouldn't have the wrist moving up and down, taking over the action of the fingers in creating sound at the piano. I want to add that all these aspects of technique is actually not so visible if the student is playing on a digital piano, because they can't really hear the changes in tone when you use different parts of your hands to play. Okay, but on an acoustic piano, the sound is very clear that when you're playing with a relaxed wrist, with a tense wrist, you get a very harsh tone, and with a pumping wrist, you almost get a very choppy sound effect. Okay, so those are the common mistakes. Now then, how to fix them? I would suggest right from the start that you ingrain in the student a good handshake. And in my course program under podia.com, dorothychiapiano.podia.com, you can find that I have a mini course that introduces beginners to a good handshake. So this is very important. So if they have a good handshake, then we're just extending that posture to the use of the wrist. So if the handshake is fully understood, then the wrist is like a shock absorber. It shouldn't be too tight, but it absorbs some of the movement as the fingers is playing. So when you're relaxed, okay, that there isn't tension, and yet at the same time there shouldn't be over tightening of the wrist. Tell me if you have any other questions, and I would be most happy to address them in my weekly vlogs. So till the next week, bye bye.